Mr. Red Bull man here is still getting his voice back. So we had a lot of people go to CIY, and it was a powerful week, guys. Those of you who went, you know that. The leaders in here that were able to go with us, they know the things that God was doing in students' hearts, in our hearts, and just it was a really, really fun week. And, you know, it's kind of a little bit different because we weren't able to go to camp last year because of COVID. And so for most of the people that went to camp this year, it was their first time. It was their first time going to CIY, first time going to a camp and having an experience like they had. And I'm so grateful that the students that went with us, the leaders that went with us, that they were able to go, because it was just such a cool experience of God working in our ministry and bonding us closer together. And we want to be able to share a little bit of that today, so that if you didn't go to CIY, you can hear a little bit of the story behind what God did during the week. And so I'm really excited for that. So this is going to be pretty laid back. I've kind of gotten the word out to students that went with us that if they'd like to share what God did in their week, what God did in their heart, whether they rededicated their life to Jesus or were baptized or just simply took the next step in their faith and realized, man, I need to be all in for Jesus. Our theme for the week was called For All Forever. And we looked at story after story that talked about Jesus being for us forever, and about how Jesus forgives us and he loves us and he wants us to grow in our relationship with him. He wants us to be kingdom workers. He wants us to find our friends and bring the gospel to them and just be challenged in our relationship with him. And so we're going to open it up a little bit. And I know there's a couple people in here that already told me they wanted to share. So I think we're going to start with Zoe. So give it up for Zoe. Woo-woo. Right, that was a very exciting morning clap you got. So Zoe, here, you can sit down. Woo-woo. All right, is that mic working for you okay?
I think so, yeah.
Yay, awesome. I thought it would be a little less stressful if we could just sit down and chat. So, okay, so Zoe, I'm not going to quiz you or anything. I just want to know, what did God do in your life this week? What did God do in your life this week, and how can that be an encouragement to everybody here?
So I got rebaptized this week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And CIY really made me help me realize I should get rebaptized. So I originally got rebaptized in 2018, if you haven't heard, and I fell out. I stopped going to church as much, and I stopped praying as much, reading my Bible. And then we came back, I started going to church more, and then CIY happened. I got so much closer to everyone at Eastside, including leaders and students, and it was really encouraging. My favorite part was definitely worship, because everyone was so in the moment. It wasn't everyone was just all together, and no one really cared about if anyone was watching. We were just all just together.
Yeah, the worship was really powerful. It was cool to see how after maybe the first session, the first night, and maybe the second morning session, that it felt like everybody, especially in our group, was able to just kind of let their guard down and just be like, man, I'm just here to worship Jesus, and whether that means I'm in the aisle dancing, or I have my hands up, or I'm just standing there or sitting there taking that in, it was really powerful. So the worship was great. The worship was great. And I want to just share a little bit and ask you a little bit about your baptism. You said you were rebaptized, and what I remember from talking to you, our conversation, was that when you got baptized before, like in 2018, maybe the meaning of getting baptized at that point wasn't as significant to you. Maybe you weren't quite ready to really understand what that commitment really looked like.
Yeah, so my family really started getting into Eastside in 2018. So the reason I got baptized, would be I thought it was the right reason.
Yeah.
And not more I was in the right place. But now I'm in way better of a place, and I'm very more involved in the church than I was in 2018. So
That's awesome. And would you say that your relationship with Jesus and where you see your future now after going to CIY, being baptized, growing closer to the family here, are you more excited about that than you ever have been?
Yeah, I literally was texting all my friends like that went to CIY like basically 10 minutes after I left them and like I was missing them already. I grew in like everyone's relationship, including my relationship with God and my relationship with my friends. It just the whole thing just changed.
And that's awesome, Zoe. One last thing. What would you tell everybody here, especially those who haven't been to CIY before, what would you tell them to encourage them to come next year?
What I would do to encourage someone to come next year is that you're gonna have like your main group of friends here, but going to CIY, you're gonna be friends with everyone. It's not gonna be any like you're gonna be friends with everyone by the end of the week, and it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl or a leader or a student,
Yeah.
and like everyone's gonna be so encouraging. You're gonna have someone there for you all the time, and you're just gonna be a family. And it's just a really strong message there every time you walk in the door.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that response because I saw a lot of people this week come out of their shell. I saw a lot of people worshiping Jesus and interacting with people in our group like I never have before. And so really powerful when it comes to bonding as a family. So Zoe, thanks for sharing. Give it up for Zoe, guys. All right. Okay. Who else would like to share your point? Were you going to share today? No? I feel like I need you to. Gavin. Yeah. All right. Now, if you don't know Gavin, I don't believe, no, come on, Fred. I don't think he loves to say a lot in front of people, but what he has to say, you got to listen to because his words are few. But his heart and his voice are very deep. So here, Gavin, sit down for a second. Sit down, buddy. Okay. All right. So, Gavin, was it your first time to CIY?
Yes.
Okay. And yes, his voice is real, and I sound like a 3-year-old compared to him. Okay. But Gavin, what happened this week at CIY for you? What happened in your life?
I got baptized first time,
That's awesome.
but CIY was a blast.
Yeah, and I saw you this week specifically really bond with the guys in your group and bond with the guys while we were there. Because I know before CIY, like, you've come with some friends, but, like, you might not necessarily know as many of the guys here and as much of the group. So I saw a lot of just a lot of growth in you when it comes to community. And also, you had a really, really awesome connection with a couple leaders, right? Tell us about that. Who did you have a connection with this week?
Kendrick.
Kendrick? Yeah, I know. He left the room. Maybe he's crying like a baby somewhere because you're
Jimmy and Kurt.
Jimmy and Kurt. They were your small group leaders, right? So everybody had a small group during the week where they could talk through the sessions and hang out together and bond. And Kendrick, I know, had a special impact on you because when you got baptized, Kendrick ran into the pond, like basically, he jumped in the pond face first and was screaming and tackled you. And I was like, get the lifeguard out there. No. But it was a really cool moment to see you get baptized. And even for Jimmy, I know Jimmy's not in here, but even for Jimmy, I believe, was that the first time he's baptized someone? Well, maybe it wasn't the first, but he was a little nervous about it. And I think he might have dunked you twice. Was that right? Okay. Because the first time, I think he had you do your confession, and then he dunked you. And he's like, wait a second, I got to do a little bit more. And then he dunked you. So you got dunked twice, which is awesome, too. And then probably a third time by Kendrick.
He dunked me twice because he missed like 4 words.
Yeah, because he missed 4 words, which is very technical. It's not the biggest deal in the world. But that was a really cool moment to see you give your life to Jesus, and we're excited for the next steps you're going to take with our youth group. So give it up for Gavin, guys. Love you, bro. Okay, all right. Who else wants to share? Let's go back to a lady. Let's go to Bella. Okay, everybody get for Bella. Woo-hoo. My voice is gone. Okay, all right. Miss Bella McKim, you're part of our student ministry.
Yeah.
You're pretty involved,
Yeah.
but CIY was another level, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what happened at CIY for you.
So CIY was
experience for me because before I went to CIY, I thought I was involved, but I realized while I was there that I wasn't as involved as I should have been, and because I have grown up in a church my whole life since I was able to go to church, but I feel like I didn't really care that much because I was just like, oh, it's another day at church. I just have to sit there and be bored the whole time. But when I went to CIY, it was life changing for me because I realized that I need to read my Bible more, I need to pray more, and after that, I was a lot more connected to God. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love hearing from someone who has grown up in church, but realized through a experience at camp like CIY that, man, being involved in the life and the ministry of Jesus that happens here is so much more than just being here.
yeah,
And hearing you talk about, knowing that you need to read your Bible more, that you need to become more connected, that there's a next level and a next step that you can take, I'm sure is super encouraging for people here, because I know there's people here that have been at church their whole life too. That was me, right? And it took a camp or an experience within youth group for me to realize, man, I really need to make my own relationship with Jesus
yeah.
bigger.
Yeah, and I've also been to other church camps before, but they didn't really change me like this one did. So this
Okay.
is probably the most important church camp I've ever been
That's
to.
awesome. So that's a good perspective too. A lot of us have been here to different types of camps, some church camps, and some other types of school camps and stuff. What's the difference of CIY compared to a church camp?
So my other church camp I went to, I only had 2 friends, and I knew none of the leaders. But when I came here, I had all these friends, and I made a bunch of more friends, and some of the leaders became my best friends, especially Amber, because
Aw.
I love Amber.
That's so sweet. I love that. And you guys had a table about the second day, maybe the third day, 2 tables. They had a table at every meal. That guys, their table was crazy. Cray.
Our table was a little scary.
It was scary. I always had one eye on your guys' table.
Yeah, I'm glad you did because someone needed to look after our table.
Right. But you guys, that was cool seeing even a friend group of 7, 8 people between your guys' tables. It was like every meal. It was like, hey, this is we're hanging out.
I would get there and the whole table would be full, and I was only in the lunch line for 2 minutes. It did not.
It was a hot spot, I guess.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Bella, anything else you want to share with the group about, why you would encourage someone to go to CIY? Why would you encourage them to be more involved in our student ministry?
Going to CIY is different for me than any other church camp I've ever been to in my whole entire life. So I think it would change your all's lives to go, and it would be really important. And when I went there at first, I think this is adding on to Zoe's, I think, I didn't realize that I wasn't so close, I wasn't super close to my friends, but when I left, I was literally friends with everyone, and I know everyone's names, and I've talked to everyone at least once.
That's cool. And the goal behind becoming connected to friends and people that want to draw closer to Jesus too is that's a commitment we make when we get back from camp, right? We say, hey, this is my crew. These are my people that are going to point me closer to Jesus, help me stay connected here. So that's exciting to hear that's been on your heart. So give it up for Bella, guys. All right. We're going to go to, yes, she raised, no, not you. I'm not picking on you. Casey. Yes. All right, give it up for Casey. Woo, woo. Casey, how you doing? Good.
I lost my voice at camp. So.
Okay, now, let's talk about that for a second. You lost your voice, but you hardly talk.
No, I talk to the people that I'm really close to.
Okay, you talk to people you're really close with, but from what I knew about Casey Lambert before we went to CIY is that you still were pretty quiet and there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, my wife tells me I need to be more quiet. And so there's nothing wrong with taking some time to warm up to people in our student ministry. But it was just awesome to see that as the week went on, I saw a side of Casey that I've never seen before. So tell me about that a little bit. Tell me about what CIY was like for you, how it helped you grow.
I'm not very. See, I get panic attacks.
No, you're fine.
Anyway, I'm not very loud around the people that have big personalities
Sure.
like you. I'm not very loud around you.
Does that mean I need to be less loud?
No, it's just for
Okay, you guys heard
whatever
it.
reason, I just get really quiet and shy until I warm up to people.
Yeah.
But this made me warm up to like everybody. Now I know everybody's name, which I do not remember names, so that was really hard for me.
Yeah.
I warmed up to my small group. I got my group of friends, but then I have other friends too. So it helped me to just get closer to church, get closer to God, and then also meet some new people and have a good time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Guys, give it up for Casey sharing that. Oh, you're not done. I have another question. No, you're not done. Okay, one more thing. What is something from camp that you're going to take with you now? Because we're not there anymore, right? Like, camp is over, but we don't want everything that, like, we experienced and grew into just die off and, back to normal life. So what's something that you wanted to take with you from this week that you learned that's, like, so important?
Well, since I do sports, I get tired really. I read my Bible at night, so
Yeah.
I need to take more time for Jesus
Yes.
and not just focus on me and like what I do.
That's huge. Actually, I heard you had a swim meet the night we got back, and I heard some other people in here. Stella had a swim meet, and Owen, did you have one too? No, okay, but I heard multiple people had stuff going on that night, and I was like, how are they going to swim after CIY?
I
Like,
slept until noon the next day.
you slept until noon? That's awesome. But it's just really cool to see different people share different things about how God has helped them grow through CIY, and I'm so glad you went with us. So thanks for sharing. Also, another quick thing, you're coming up next, that I didn't share when Bella was up here, but I thought was really cool, is that Bella didn't bring her phone on the trip because her phone broke, right? Cracked. And so some of our students didn't bring their phones, but some of them did, and we didn't have a lot of phone time. Like, you might have had a couple minutes in the morning, a couple minutes at night, call parents, text them, whatever. But it was really cool to see people get so engaged when they could shut things off for a little bit. You know what I mean? Just shut off from media and other people's lives and just focus on what God is doing in their life. And so that's another really awesome thing about CIY, is that even when something that's such a big part of your life, and let's face it, with almost everybody in the room, phones or technology of some type is a big part of your life. We spend a lot of time on it, too much time. And so it was so good to be able to shut off from that for the week. Like, even our leaders having their phones, like, they spent less time than they usually do on their phones because they were engaged with students. I know I myself, I was able to take a break from some different things on my phone because I was like, man, I just am engaged with our group. And so that's a really cool part too, is you get a chance to get away, and it's not, it's a difference of like a church camp in CIY, is that there's always something going on. There's always a big thing going on, a game, rec time, worship, small group. And so you stay so busy, you really don't even think about, oh man, I need to use my phone. So that was a cool part of the trip too. Give it up for my man, Space Pancakes. Yeah. And now officially, is it Space Pancakes 89?
Whatever one. I'd rather prefer space pancakes to the shrimp.
Okay, Space Pancakes, all right. All right, so this guy, hold that mic up for me a little bit. There you go, perfect. This guy lost his voice.
Yep.
And maybe one of the funniest moments of the whole trip was the last night he got up in our group worship time. So every night at the end of every day, we got together, just our group, to do a little worship and just share together. And what was cool about that is we were the only group that did that, the only one. And there was almost 900 people there. So that was awesome. But the last night, this guy's got no voice, nothing. And God was really moving in you. And he got up to share some things. And basically, Kurt, one of our leaders for the guys, he basically translated. All right, so it was like, you know, it was It was hilarious. He would say 3 words, Kurt would repeat it, and it was so funny, and it was so awesome. But Space Pancakes, a.k.a. Sam, tell us about what CIY meant to you this week, what God did in your life.
Kind of like what everybody else said. I felt like I was engaged with Jesus, but I really wasn't fully. And Jesus was pulling at my heartstrings the whole entire week. First day, the second day was full on Jesus straight through. And
Yeah.
What day was the pedestals?
I think it was Wednesday. Yes, it would have been the 3rd day.
Wednesday was the biggest. It's one of the biggest days for me.
Would you tell people here that weren't there what the pedestals were, what they did with that?
Okay, so you would go up to a little box with a light on it, and then there would be like a pedestal that you could step on, and it would show a symbol on the wall, and that symbol represents Jesus. And I feel like everybody that went up to go step on it just bawled afterwards. Grayson, them too. I could
Yeah, almost everybody stepped on it, if not everybody, from our group that week. In the pedestal, they gave opportunities. They said, if you haven't accepted Jesus and you want to make a decision to do that this week, step on that pedestal. So they were playing a song, and you see it flash up on these screens, and people would clap because they're one life and another life and another life saying, I want to give my life to Jesus. And then there was an opportunity for people to rededicate their life to Jesus, to step on the pedestal. And there was an opportunity for people to just say, I don't want to keep living the way I am. I want to take the next step. And so we kept seeing these pedestals being stepped on. And like that was huge for you, right? Because you realized you needed to go all in.
I did it twice on Wednesday, and then the last time I did it once. So
That's awesome. So Sam, you've been a part of our youth group. What would you leave with people here, people that went, people that didn't go? What would you leave with them about what it means to go to a CIY and what it means to be connected in a deeper way within our middle school ministry? Just something that's encouraging. What would you encourage people? What would you, if there's one thing you would encourage them to go to CIY next year?
So once I got back from CIY, I immediately started writing down notes, and like I had a sticky note. I have sticky notes on my little desk, and says 1 point prayer, then a check mark box. I just did that, read the Bible, and do all of that stuff. For people who did go to CIY, y'all understand where I'm going at this. Jesus was right there with you the whole entire time. Everybody who wasn't there, everybody who wasn't there, I'd recommend that you would go to CIY next year. It was breathtaking.
Yeah, it was.
Literally.
It was an amazing week, and everybody was tired, right? I mean, it was all day, go, go, go. But it was an amazing week, and the campus was pretty cool too, right? So we got to go to this college campus, and so you got to stay in the dorm rooms, eat in the cafeteria, hang out there, and it was a really nice campus. So an experience like you'll never have at a church camp, which church camps are awesome. I grew up at church camps. I did that at my last church. I love church camps too, but this is a little different. Being at a college campus, you felt like the moment was always right there. So give it up for my friend Space Pancakes. Love you, buddy. All right. Yes. You gonna say something else real quick?
Okay.
All right, Bella's got one more thing.
If you go, just be aware that the food is not that good. I would recommend you go to the Chick-fil-A that they have there, or go to the camp store because the food is not good.
Okay, well, that is true. So the thing is, there are options though. Salad bar, pizza, and then a couple different entrees. They probably just started tasting not as decent by about the 3rd day, but they did have some options. They had a Chick-fil-A on site. They had a store where you could buy snacks. We even had a day where we were supposed to go to the pool, but it rained, and so we ended up going to a park, and we had pizza there and hung out, and that was really fun, going to the park, just getting off campus for a couple hours too. You got something, Owen? You ate a whole pizza? I love it. Okay, anybody else want to share? Anybody else? Okay, worship team,